Much team. All right, everybody. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. You hear me? You guys got me? You good to hear? Everybody got it? All right, great. Well, thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come hang out with us, some of the experts here, the Decoded team here for our first kind of virtual event. This, I have to be honest, I've spoke all over the country for millions of people, and I've actually not done a live stage studio like this. How beautiful is this, guys? I appreciate, thank you to the Decoded team for setting this all up. This is an incredible experience. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this, and I hope you guys do too. So real quick, drop in the chat for me. If you guys would, drop in the chat. What are you here to accomplish? What is the intention that you're looking to set? So are you here to overcome some health issue or just learn more about peptides? Or are you here as a practitioner and maybe you're looking to add tools to your business? Drop in the chat if I can get some feedback from you guys on what you're here to learn. What is your intention for the group? I know a lot of you are probably moving around, seeing this from different places. We'll go ahead and wait for some people to drop in the chat. But the reason why I'm asking that is because so often in time, people are looking at peptides, they're looking at this industry, and this is the greatest time in human history to heal or achieve when it comes to your physical health or comes to human performance, whether that's you're trying to achieve something in business or you're trying to achieve something in health. And I travel all over as a health coach working with different, whether it's celebrities or athletes or really sick people on major conquests, right? Whether it's something in their health or it's something in their business. And I do health and mindset coaching together. We bring those things together to help people achieve the impossible. So it's always interesting to me to figure out why people want to be here. Yep, right here. Okay. And I'm learning, guys. I'm looking at different cameras. I'm over here. I'm over there. They're like, no, reel it in, Vince, right here. Okay. So I'm always fascinated. Hey, guys, bring me to the beginning, or I can do that. 1 second. I got it. We'll get this to set up here, right? 1 second. From the beginning. Boom. There we go. So I'm always so interested in what drives people. And today I promise you that I'm going to move the needle in your life just at least 1% forward to achieve that thing, to get that health, to move your practice forward. And so if you can, no matter where you are, go ahead and write down, what is the one thing that I truly want to achieve over, let's say, this year, right? Is it something in your health? Is it something in your business? Is it something in your life? What is that thing? Write it down, make a mental note of it, put it into your phone. Do that for me just really quickly, and there's a reason why I want you to do that. I'll give you guys a second. All right, whatever that thing is, the first thing that pops up in your mind, don't overthink it. It's the first thing that pops up. Whatever that thing is, I don't need to know what it is, but I know how to achieve it, because when it comes to doing anything great in your life, whether it's getting healthy or, again, other accomplishments in your business, it requires one major thing. That's consistency. A lot of you parents know you have to be consistent with your children. You can't just show up one day and then quit the next day, right? In business, same thing. It's that consistency. In weight loss, in health, it's that consistency. But consistency can be maddening because of this one molecule. It can be the impossible thing. So I'm asking myself, what is that thing, what is that pattern in your life where you commit to something, you say you're going to do something, and then you break it 1 week, 2 weeks. Not too long ago, we just had our New Year resolution, right? And most people quit within 3 to 4 weeks, right? Why is it that most of America, most of the world has this problem with starting and stopping? It comes back to this one molecule. And I'm going to teach you about how to master this one molecule. I'm going to teach you how to unlock your mind and accelerate healing or achieving, because it is absolutely a skill that can be mastered. That said, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit. So there's really 6, and I love the Tony Robbins framework. There are 6 basic human needs, right? And most of us in life start out very simply with one of our basic needs. It could be for certainty. I've got to have a roof over my head, food on my plate. Maybe I need variety, because if everything was the same, I'd be totally bored. So I'm traveling them over. I'm trying to do different things. Significance. I'm working on social media. I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm trying to build my presence because I want to be significant in society or the greater world around me. Or love, right? If love's your number one priority, you might operate differently and build more for relationships, looking for that personal other one, you know what I mean, that significant other. Those are the main four. That's what we start out with in life. So most of the core things that we do tend to revolve around those four things. So again, you might get this job that you really don't like because it gives you the certainty of that paycheck every week, right? Or maybe you're somebody who has a hard time. You have to have variety. So maybe you're the entrepreneur that has the full-time job and the 2 part-time jobs, right? Or maybe you're the person who's not sure what you want to do, but you're committed to that social media every single day because you're trying to create significance. Or maybe you're one of the people out there that's getting in and out of relationships all the time, or going back to that same toxic relationship because you're focused on trying to achieve or find or chase love, right? We start with a lot of that. We want people to love us, so we want to get good at something. We want people to admire us or look to us for help. But there's 2 more very important needs. And these are your spiritual needs. These are called growth and contribution. And whatever the thing is that you can't seem to achieve, I'm going to show you guys today how we can break through some of our immediate needs for certainty or significance, right? I don't want to do anything unless I know it's going to work, and get focused on growing, challenging myself, and contributing to something greater than myself. Because it's when we tap into that mind frame when we can achieve unlimited things. But how do we get there, right? Because every time I try to do something new, every try to do something different, I always stop, right? I always find a reason. There's these patterns in my life. And depending on your age, you may not notice your patterns yet, but they become very obvious to you. You know, sometimes it takes you 10 years to notice a pattern. As you get older, those patterns, they get shorter and shorter, and maybe only takes you 10 days or 10 hours to notice these patterns. And I seem to be gridlocked in these patterns, whether it's in my business, in my personal relationships, in my health, in my lifestyle, maybe my diet. I'm locked into these patterns. I'm going to show you guys, if you give me a second, how to break those patterns and those chains. So let's get into it. Okay. The dopamine, the certainty drug. Okay, I'm going to move through some of this. Usually when I give this on stage, this is about an hour and 20 minutes presentation, but I'm going to try to take you through pretty quickly. So a lot of things drive dopamine. We live in a very dopamine-driven world. Family chaos, unaddressed trauma, processed food, sex, stimulants, physical activities, anger, fear. All of these things really drive dopamine. We live in a dopamine world. In fact, nothing is going to drive more dopamine than this, right? Scrolling. Right? Even more than food, they say, right? And if you want to prove that to yourself, you could be really hungry, but you ain't going to take food to the toilet. But you'll be on that damn food, that phone though, right? And so it just shows how dopamine and separating ourselves from how we feel on a day-to-day basis, it becomes the main part of our day. Look at your screen time. If you say you have no time, go to your phone, iPhone especially, pull up screen time. You're like, I never have any time for anything. I just found your time. It's like 5 hours, 7 hours. It's all right there because we're putting so much time into chasing dopamine or not feeling whatever we're feeling in the moment when we escape to things, right? And so, interestingly enough, other things drive dopamine. So food chemicals, did you know, like if folate or folic acid or different preservatives or different colorings can drive inflammation and dopamine, heavy metals, infections, bacterial overgrowth, because it sends signals from your nervous system that something is wrong and starts stimulating that dopamine to go focus and look for what's wrong. You ever felt in your nervous system like this uneasiness when you get around certain people or you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, and you can feel that subtle energy and that anxiety mixed with it? That's dopamine and glutamate, right? It's part of your intuition of letting you know what's for you and what's not for you, right? And so it can be stimulated all the time if we've got ourselves in a really unhealthy environment and we get used to that overstimulation and don't feel right when we're not stimulated. How many of you have ever tried to just go sit outside and meditate for an hour? Who could do that today? It's almost impossible for everyone to do that, right? Because what ends up happening is as soon as we try to sit down, our brains have been trained for chaos. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to sit there and then we're going to go, do I have something in the washer and dryer? What am I going to eat for lunch? Did my friend Jen text me? Does he love me? You know, these things, right? We're going to run through our minds. And the reason that we're programmed that way is you did it. You programmed yourself that way to be successful in chaos, because most of our life feels like chaos. The way we think, the way we move in life is very chaotic, very busy. And so we train our nervous system for chaos. So then we wonder why we never have any peace. In that chaos, we are driving dopamine. And you're going to see why I'm talking about this in a minute. Because again, all the peptides are great. All the diet stuff's great. Like I standard nutritionist stuff, I can come up here and say, oh, you just need to eat 1 gram of protein per 2.2, per kilogram of body weight. I can tell you a million things. I can tell you all you got to do is walk for an hour every single day and your entire life would change. But if you can't stay consistent, if you don't feel the passion or the drive, how are you going to do it? So we have to start with this, right? Before we get to anything else today, we got to start with what's going on in here. And so as we keep going, if it feels like I'm reading your diary, I would invite you to continue on the journey that we're going to take you on, even from this presentation and beyond. Okay, let's keep going. Or maybe we will. Hold on a second. See if I need to lock this thing back in or not. I think we're locked in, guys. Hold on for one technical. We're experiencing technical difficulties, team. This is our first time, right? You guys got to give us a little bit of love and a little bit of grace, right? This is our first one of many. We're really looking forward to this, but there will always be first mover problems. There we go. We got it. Okay. Simple thing is, if you're somebody that says, oh, I'm calm, I generally accomplish the things that I want to in life. I think, for the most part, I do a pretty good job. Well, let me ask you a question. You make 35,000 decisions a day, and I'm just wondering, from what place do you make those decisions, right? Do you make them from a place that feels like in your spirit? Do you feel peace, right? Do you feel like everything is going to work out, right? Do you feel certain? Or do you feel the opposite of that, right? Do you feel flashbacks in the past? You're stuck in the rear view and looking for a pattern of that in the future to make sure that you stay away from anything that could potentially hurt you. So that your focus is always in the past, right? Are you feeling anxiety, grief, resentment? What are you feeling on a day-to-day basis? Because the place that you reside and where you make decisions will absolutely change everything about your life. So if you're spending 70% of your day in anxiety, and not 70% of your day in surety, in safety, which comes back to dopamine, your decisions, your focus, your vision, everything about your life will be entirely different. Same person, 2 different universes. And that's why this topic is so important. Leadership traits. If I'm not in a good place with me, right? If I'm not in a good place with me, then I'm going to take on more the masculine. I'm going to try to be more resilient, aggressive, proud, arrogant, independent, because I'm trying to push through things because I'm afraid, right? Strong. Or are you somebody that's feeling passionate, flexible, intuitive, loyal, right? Empathetic, trusting instinct, grateful? Because to be quite honest with you, to achieve anything for the long term, not in the short. In the short, you need leadership traits of the masculine. You have to do it for the first time. But to continue well beyond where it becomes a part of your life where you get successful, you have to really look at traits of the feminine, right? And so where are you at most of the day, right? It's all centers around dopamine. So how many of you drink coffee? Probably a good amount of you. You guys coffee drinkers? Okay, so with coffee, when you sip that coffee, many of you are going to say, well, I don't care for the caffeine. I just like the flavor. It's just part of my routine. All of what you're actually saying when you say that is you have a neuroassociation. Coffee on its face value tastes like crap. And you have to put all this, if it tasted so good, why do we load it with a million things if it's so great, right? Oh, I like the flavor, right? That's not it. When we start drinking coffee, one of the things it does is it stimulates cortisol, which then stimulates dopamine, okay? And then we have that first sip, and what's the first thing we do, everybody? Last time I checked, anything really stimulating doesn't make you go, right? But why does it do that? Because dopamine is the certainty drug. It makes us relax. It makes us feel like everything's going to be okay. Like, I don't know why, but I can accomplish this today. So we develop what's called a neuroassociation, where we have a dopamine release from an action or a behavior. And so when I pick up that coffee and I take a sip, I have a dopamine release because I have an association with coffee that everything's going to be okay. My morning's going to be good. I'm going to be good. And because I've created that association, what I want you to realize is that Starbucks this entire time has not been selling you coffee. They sell you certainty. Okay? And so that's how committed we are to certainty. And then we have our coffee, and then we have our food, and we have our social media. All day it's like, make me feel certain, make me feel okay, right? And then when I don't have any of those things, I don't know. What's going on with my life? Where am I at? All the decisions I've made. Should I be here? Do I need to be with this person or that person? Or like, did I make the right life choices? Right? Women, we do that at like 2 a.m., right? Right? Because guess what? Our bodies relax, glutamate's up, we don't have the dopamine, and boom, we get under attack by our thoughts. So ineffective habits like scrolling all day, eating a bunch of pizza, they meet our needs in unhealthy ways. Because why? Because if I eat that pizza and I have good neuroassociation with it, that means I'm going to release dopamine in response to it. So that's why I keep going back to the pizza, even though I know the pizza's injurious. It's not meeting all my needs. How many people have been in a relationship? You know you're supposed to leave a long time ago, but you stayed in it. Right? You stayed in it because it met some of your needs. But we do that. We treat our body in ways that meet some of our needs. We go to a job that meets some of our needs, right? We have relationships that meet some of our needs. We live in and out of a purpose in life that meets some of our needs. But if you're in a place in your life where you feel like you were meant to do more, or that you know you should be somewhere else rather than where you are, that you have a vision of yourself that should have done more and that you're capable of doing more, meeting some of your needs isn't getting it done. And so how do we get to that next place? I'm going to go ahead for time. I'm going to go ahead and skip. I'm going to save it for you because I just want to make sure we stay on time for this today. But so I want to go over, well, how does this happen? You know, in entrepreneurship and in life, how do I get to the place where I'm so stuck on dopamine, I'm so stuck on my foods, I'm so stuck on my lifestyle patterns and behaviors? How do I get to this place? And what I want you to understand is life is doing it to us. Life is doing it to us. So if you're someone who's trying to achieve something like in business, right? If you're on social media a lot, right? If you're not, a lot of people, you're going to find about your internet warriors, the people that got opinion about everything and they're on the internet starting conflicts. Those people typically are not challenging themselves in other areas of their life, in the gym, moving forward in their business, because these people are focused on getting their dopamine, their chaos, their reward mechanism is coming from arguing with people on social media. So they're getting their dopamine from there. So that's why it's true that the people that are the most argumentative, giving the most drama online, are the people that are not doing anything with their life, right? But the people that challenge themselves in areas of their life don't have time to be in challenge also on social media. Right? But what I want people to understand about our relationships, our food choices, our job types, maybe you're a crypto investor or something like that as well. This research was on unpredictable intermittent access to sucrose or water. This was important. What does this mean? So this is a rat study, but there was also another human study and other primate studies that validate this phenomena. So they did a study where they looked at rats, and they gave them regular water, and they could press a button, and they could get sugar water. Also, right next to the sugar water was also cocaine water. That sounds like an interesting study. And so what happened was when the rats could push the button, the sucrose, so the sugar basically, would come out into the water. The rats could drink it. Every time the rats pressed the button, sugar water would come out. And what ends up happening, though, in that situation is because it was consistent, right? So the things in your life that get consistent. So like eating clean every single day, taking that morning walk every single day. The person that maybe isn't like making your heart pound out of your chest, but shows up every day, is a good person, treats you right, but isn't the Chad who comes in and out of your life, but makes your heart pump high and low. You know what I'm saying? The consistent things, the problem with them is they stop giving you the reward. So this is where here, same thing. The rats were hitting the sugar water. Once they got it every single time, they didn't want it anymore. They went back to the regular water. But once they added in intermittent access, meaning that when they would press the button, they didn't always get the sugar water. Well, wait a minute. I want what I want. I press the button, give me the sugar. Give it to me, right? Now I'm hitting it every 5. Gimme. How many of you guys do that on the internet when like a button isn't working right? So you just bomb the button. Hurry up, right? That's what the rats were doing. Okay? They couldn't stop. It become this huge desire. I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, though. There was just a big lawsuit with YouTube, Instagram, talking about how the social media may be addictive and they were not making people aware of it. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go. It's very much the same way. You'll notice on the internet, you'll get a video of like a fuzzy bunny, and it's like, it's this cute thing, right? And then the next one will be like death in Iran. And then the next one will be like, here's a major health scare, something that you're not doing. And then it'll be like a product, buy my thing. And it'll be in this order because you're going up, down, up, down, up, down. It's chaotic. But it's addictive. It's addictive because it's hitting that dopamine button. So you're getting the dopamine button on social. You're getting it a lot of times in your relationships. Evaluate some of your friends. Are they the best people you should be listening to advice, or they're the people that you have the most fun with? Because the people that drive that dopamine are probably usually the people that you shouldn't be listening to, right? Not always, but I'm just saying. What happens is we get surrounded it and we start making decisions about whether things stimulate us or not. The people in our lives, the foods that we eat, the lifestyle choices that we make. We create or co-create our entire existence and then judge it by the outcome and judge ourselves, not realizing this is working on us. Okay? And so what they found was once the rat really got addicted to the sugar water, guess what they started drinking? The cocaine water. Substance abuse, food addictions, codependency, eating disorders are at all-time highs in the world. But I don't want you to think about just like an eating disorder. I want you to think about your life. Like, how consistent are you? Can you see yourself in those patterns in your relationships, your relationship with your body, relationship with food, relationship with life, and you're wondering, why am I back here again? Have you ever done that where you're like, I'm starting something different? And then you're right back around like, I'll start again in a week, right? If you've got any of those patterns in your life, this is for you. Okay. Your brain on society, ladies and gentlemen. You are high on society, and that's dopamine. But under chronic stress of that, we start searching for safety, okay? We start searching for things that make us feel okay or to not feel at all. So our nervous system changes, our habits, our emotions, and we go up the polyvagal ladder, up and down the polyvagal ladder. Right? So in the end, how many of you have experienced burnout? 9 out of 10 times burnout is insensitivity, blowout of dopamine and cortisol because you've been holding on to something you shouldn't have been for so long, right? Or doing something for so long that you should have let go. And so the war in our head. It's not a war of resources. If you're the type of person that says, I could have done this because this happened, if I just had more money, if this just happened, you're putting it on circumstances. When the truth is, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. It's about what's going on inside of us. Conquer the war in here, and everything out here gets easier. But that's the harder battle, isn't it? It's the battle that you can't see. So how does your nervous system feel right now? Are you someone who gets fluttering hard? Are you somebody who can't sit still too long? You look at me. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. I'm up here all the time. Are you somebody that, again, inner peace is hard to come by, or satisfaction, I can't grab it? I have many things in my life that I promised myself once I had them that I would be happy, and yet I'm not, right? How many things have we told ourselves, all I need is more? If I just had more money, things would be great. Then you get more money and you still have the same emotional state. Right? So we come to figure out that there is an optimization, that there is a continual growth I need. The definition for me for happiness is growth. If you're continuing to grow in your relationships, your life, love, monetary, whatever it is, you will find more oftentimes you will be happy. But most of the time we're so busy collecting dopamine in the patterns that we are in, guess what we stop doing? Growing. Remember I told you about that spiritual need, contribution and growth. We forget, just like the flower, trees, every organism on this planet, if you stop growing, you start dying. And that's why the pursuit of dopamine in the wrong ways is so dangerous. This is why more people are depressed and they're not living in their purpose. They're not living for something greater than themselves because they're stuck in the pattern of dopamine chasing society. Right? Just like I said, the rats, right? So the rats now are drinking the cocaine water. So how does that relate to you? Well, if you get exposed to something in an intermittent reward, when you don't know you're going to get it, and then you get it, and then you don't know you're going to get it, and you get it, guess what happens, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're more attracted to toxic relationships. You're more attracted to toxic workplaces and friendships. Or if you're not going to get it there, then you must have variety in your food. It can't be consistent. We have a consistency pandemic, everybody. And what I'm trying to let you guys know is it's not your fault. You were set up from the get. You were set up for the get. Capitalism requires you to be dopamined out, buying your emotions away, thinking that you're not enough in order for them, people like me who have a business, however, but capitalism will end up setting you off course if you bite into it too hard. And that's where many of us land, right? And so think of it this way. I want to give you guys a better example as we're going through. Social media, stimulants, unhealthy lifestyles. I get too much dopamine and I have a blowout. I'm too high. I'm too high on life. Everything just needs to calm down. How many of us remember this when we were making our teens or 20s and we partied way too much? And then one day we're like, I can't do this anymore. And then you just locked yourself in your room for 3 weeks, right? Then you went to isolation. You went to the other place. But there was so much going on, it got chaotic. In fact, in this life today, most of our needs are met. Basic needs. So we start adding so many things that we see other people in their lives looks good. John on social media travels to Tahiti every week. This guy's doing ice baths, eating 6 meals a day. This person's over here getting their Bugatti. I'm going to get all those things and I go get them all and they look good on other people and I'm miserable trying to watch the cussing. I'm effing miserable. But more importantly, I'm like dopamine out. More money, more problems is a real thing, y'all. So if you think money's going to make you feel safer, I'm going to tell you something. At some point, it goes the opposite direction, right? And so we have to realize that this safety, this certainty that we're looking for to go forward in our lives, to make changes, right? To achieve the thing that we saw in our mind back in the beginning when we started our lives, how are we ever going to make it in this society that we have today? So think of it like glucose. If you guys eat too much sugar, basic math, eventually you get insulin resistant, right? Same thing with dopamine, okay? So you ever been to a festival? I've never been. I'm a good boy, right? I don't do anything. If you ever been to a festival where you rocked out for 3 days in a row and then you get home and you try to sit in the silence and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Where am I at, right? Or you've gone through, you get through some family vacation, right? And it was just insane. You get into this place where you almost don't feel anything and you want to be alone and you're not sure what to do. That's a place that we experience almost, some of us, weekly. Or sometimes we never leave that place. So I don't have any drive or motivation or passion. I'm just burnt out. I'm just blown out. You're blown out because at some point you were so focused on fear or your traumas or getting into lifestyle stuff that so much dopamine came into your synapses, it burnt out your dopamine receptors. You are now dopamine resistant. It's a real thing. And so what do we try to do when we try to change our lives? I'm going to try to stay on time. I'm going to try, I promise you. I might go five over. What do we try to do when our lives get too chaotic? Well, a lot of us try to get healthy. We're like, I'm not happy with my life. I'm not sure what I don't like about my life, but you know what? Getting rid of this stomach, maybe that'll do it. Maybe this will make me feel good about me. So I'm going to do this. This is the problem right here. It's not here. I don't know that yet. It's here. So I'm going to go and try to get consistent. I'm going to go sign up for that gym membership, which 90% of people don't go and do, right? I'm going to go get that personal trainer and never show up for my sessions, which over 60% of people don't do, right? I'm going to go buy some health products, which per capita in the United States, no one buys more health material than we do. No one spends more money on health per person than us, yet we have more biomass and tissue than almost anywhere in a first world country. How is that possible? How is there an inverse relationship between taking actions and then the opposite happening? Because we can't be consistent. So when I try to remove overdoing things, social media, bad food, fear, when I try to take them out and chill, right? What happens? I start not feeling good. I got to get it from I feel anxious. I feel like something's wrong. Something's missing. I got to do something with myself. I can only clean the table so many times. I can only shop on Amazon so much, right? What am I going to do? Am I going to then nod myself out on just watching Netflix all day long? How many people got caught up in that? I get caught up in some binge watching. I'm going to be honest. I got to watch it, right? I'm trying to check out, but there's the thing that I should be doing in my life that will change my entire life. But instead of doing that thing, I'm trying to make sure I don't feel nothing. I'm trying to check out because I don't want to feel that. I don't want to deal with that, right? Because I'm all anhedonic. There's a word for this. So here's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are going back and forth, many of you, on a swing, and you think you're escaping your past, but you're just doing a circle. So I'll get out of control, compulsive spending, eating, workaholism. You get on them apps. That's why you ever been on a dating app? It's wild. You get on a dating app, you get on there, you talk to 27 people, none of it works out. You're like, I can't do this anymore. You go back to your house, you talk to nobody, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. So then you try to go out, and then it's the swinging back and forth, right? From out of control to over control. Out of control to over control. And so many of us, we try to take back control when we try to get healthy, or we try to build our business, and we start to isolate, right? And so then we get over controlled, and now we start being more like compulsive saving, procrastination. We get compulsive isolation, anorexia. We get very rigid, empty, risk avoidant, filled with judgments, deprived. That's why isolation, the worst thing that you can do if you take away anything that I'm going to tell you today. I don't care if you eat better. I don't care if you eat cheeseburgers. I don't care what you do with your life. You can't stay in the house isolated. You have to build healthy relationships. Isolation is the #1 killer in the United States. And so social media makes us think that we're connected, but we're more isolated than ever. The research is absolutely clear. You take a healthy person eating spinach and you put them in isolation, they will die so much faster than someone who has relationships eating cheeseburgers every day. So the problem is multiple things are working on our health that you don't even realize that have nothing to do with what you're putting in your mouth, but what you're putting in your mind, right? So then what do we get to feeling? We start feeling bad about ourselves. We start feeling deprived. Like I'm at home, I'm following this diet, and I look at Sheila. She looks great, and she eats pizza on the weekends, and F that person, and I'll leave it nice. But we start getting judgment. You ever felt like you're getting judgy? Like you're watching Instagram, you're like, oh, look at her. You've probably been in isolation a little bit or stuck on too much dopamine. You probably get to recheck your assessment of yourself and how you're living, because we all get in these patterns. So this is how it works. Normal midbrain. Your midbrain is responsible. That's called the VTA. It's where all your dopamine neurons are, okay? It's like I go to work and then I go to Disneyland. Yay, I'm so excited, wonderful. I come home, okay, I'm not so excited. Then I get the next thing. I go on a job promotion. I get excited, yay. I get the job promotion and then I work it for a while and I'm not as excited anymore. However, what did I tell you about consistency, right? Well, what happens is when we start getting too dopamined out, when we get over-triggered, the pleasure threshold goes up. Now nothing makes us feel like that. I look at a sunrise. I don't get the same feeling anymore. I hold my girlfriend. I don't have that same passion anymore. The thing when people say passion's out in my relationship. No, the passion's out in you. So you need to look at the passion inside of yourself. What are you doing to reignite it in yourself? If you're missing a flame right now, I promise you that flame is in you. But we have to reconnect with it. We have to relight it. We have to resensitize ourselves to the things that matter most, the things that fulfill us, not just more money, more success, more followers on Instagram. More ain't going to make you happy, right? So this is called an effective midbrain, and this is happening to millions of us. Everyone goes through this on this call. I don't care who you are, and if you're the person that's like, that never happens to me, you're the person that needs this information most. You can't get through society today unless you live in some culture in Africa that's disconnected from society altogether. We are all going through this anhedonic cycle. All of us. We're all in the same boat, me included. I'm one of the worst, right? So what happens? How do we escape the anhedonic cycle? It's called anhedonia, right? Where we can't derive normal pleasure from the things that have been pleasurable in the past and the present. Understand that this is actually a real condition that we can fall in and out of. In fact, for people that have ever been exposed to major trauma, childhood sexual abuse, or alcohol or substance abuse, they're the max version of that. It's a real thing where you'll stay there for 6 months. You guys don't know my story, but I was a very sick child. I got addicted to drugs. And I know coming off of the drugs, I felt anhedonic for 1 year. You guys don't know what it's like, the pain to not feel anything for 1 year. You never want to feel that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But many of us come in and out of it all the time. And it starts messing with our decisions. And in business or in health or in anything you want to achieve in life, the whole goal is to stay. keep doing the thing that you were doing that you used to care about that eventually be worth lots of money. Keep doing the thing that you know is going to get you healthy until one day you're a totally different person, right? You don't have the relationships you want. Keep building healthy relationships and stay steady and true to who you are until those relationships become true. But none of us can stay to the thing. We're always jumping to the next thing. We're always jumping because we don't know how not to. Because society has made emotional addicts of all of us, driving our dopamine insane, and now we're puppets. What do you think social media is doing? We're taking your data all day, figuring out how to manipulate you, right? We have to take our power back by taking back emotional control and optimizing dopamine to change our lives. So the first key before the actions is to understand what is happening internally. Are you guys following me? I hope you guys are doing good. I don't get as much feedback in this one, so I got no crowd work, but hopefully this is impacting you. Woo, got one person over here now. So remember, most of you think that this is a personality trait. You think that the reason I can't stay steady on something is because you're not enough. You're not one of those people that can do this. I can't achieve this. I can't believe. Do you know why? Because you don't know there's something physiologically wrong. So guess what we do when we don't know something's wrong? We blame ourselves. We blame others, and then eventually we blame ourselves. It's Scott's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's that. But then at the end of the day, we're like, I'm not enough. Whether we admit that to anybody else or not, we're thinking it. So you'll have this anxiety, this anger, this isolation, this fear, this hyper control, this need to control everything, check all these boxes, but never really do the one thing that's going to change your life, right? And this is the thing that happens to us. So I want to show you what physiologically is happening. This is a physiologic occurrence. We take things that are physiologic, and if we don't know what the source of them is, we say it's ourselves, and then we come up with attributes that become beliefs. It goes from I am anxious to I have anxiety to I am anxious, right? The things I have become what I am. That's why I don't like you speaking that into your life, diagnoses, things like that, because it becomes a belief. Oh, I'm just an anxious person. I'm just somebody who can't stay consistent. I'm not a dieter. I'm not a workouter. I'm not an entrepreneur. All that, those identities that you came up with were based on how society has manipulated your brain, and you've just been that way for so long that that's your identity now, when that's not even who you are. Because if you've ever been to a place where someone makes you really feel safe and loved, what's the difference in your personality from a toxic relationship to someone who really cares and is consistent every day? You're a different person. You're a different person every single year, whether you want to admit it or not. So who you actually are is tucked inside mastering dopamine, because that's who you're going to find out. That's when you're going to find out who you really are, when you're trying to grow and you're under challenge. That's the real you, and it's sitting inside of you right now. So here's what happens with a dysregulated midbrain. And maybe you see this, maybe caretakers suffer from this a lot. So a normal stress happens. I spilled milk, right? Glutamate, the anxiety neurotransmitter, dopamine, both go up, but just enough. So my nervous system's cool. Oh, it's spilt milk? That sucks. I'm going to clean that up. However, under too much stimulation, too much thinking about what's wrong, what I can't control, too many of the wrong people in your life, chasing things that don't matter. Maybe you were somebody who started a business because you liked helping others, and then somehow someone told you it was about the money. So then you started chasing the money, and then you started not caring about anything. It's because you got away from the thing you actually cared about, which is helping others. You got away from the thing that mattered. When that happens, now all of a sudden you get anhedonic, right? So now that milk spills, same stressor, glutamate goes to the roof. Oh my God, spilt milk. Does everybody know someone like that in your life? Where now we're just... my hormones just blow up over every little thing. Women know what this is. They go through it once a year if they're in their vital years. But they know it's their period. Oh, that's my period, right? But for guys and everybody else, if that's not the cycle that we're on, we don't know the timer's coming. This is what's manipulating us on the inside, when you could have handled that totally different, overcome that problem. So when I try to take things out of my life that are not serving me, that ex-boyfriend, that food, stop doing that thing in my business that I shouldn't be doing. Netflix, whatever it is, cravings will ensue, and you'll start getting attacked with intrusive thoughts because your brain wants that dopamine. It needs it. Your brain is not who you are. The brain is an organ that is very persuasive. And when you say, no brain, I'm not giving you what you want today, I need to recenter, the brain's going to be like, Oh, this is what we're doing? Okay, watch this. Hey, you remember that guy that you said you were over or whatever? I'm just gonna magically make him pop up on your social media, and all of a sudden I'm gonna remind you about how he didn't love you, so you weren't enough. And then he told you about how you could never diet and you're never gonna make it, or I'm gonna remind you of the moments when you tried really hard and it didn't work out. Your brain is going to try to create chaos to make you irritable, discontent. You're gonna have these intrusive thoughts. And then you're going to start to self-sabotage. You're going to get into self-deception. You're going to get in this depression and this malaise and go, hell with it. None of this stuff works anyway. They're all liars and full of it. That is nothing outside of you. None of that actually happened. None of what I just did was real. It's in here. It's in you. It's in every day. And what's happening when you need to understand that that's a craving and that's not your real thoughts, those thoughts aren't yours. Even though they're in your voice, when you can learn to discern between the different voices of intuition versus emotional pull, you begin to realize that there's a physiologic thing occurring to you that if you just sit in it and know how to master it, you can blow right through that into the life that you've always dreamed of. And that's one of the reasons where peptides come into play, which is what we're going to talk about for the last couple minutes. I want to show you guys something though, so you guys know how real this is. So they do brain scans of people under chronic stress or trauma, and parts of our brain go dark. They don't function anymore. They're not dead, they just don't fire up. And the parts of our brain that do are more of our lizard brain. It's all about survival, and we just get into survival mode. What are my needs? I have to have things over. How many people are always in survival mode that got the thing that they said would make them feel great and then still keep chasing more of it? Oh, I finally made $1 million, but somehow the next day I wake up like I'm still poor and like everything's out of whack. And what if I don't have enough money for tomorrow? What amount of money is going to change that? Doesn't matter. You got $10 million, you're going to be the same way. If you're someone that's insecure about yourself and you're like, all I need is someone to love me, then you find someone to love you. And then what do? Do you love me? 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 There isn't enough love. You can't give it. Right? It's a void. It's a pit of never end. One is too many and 1,000 is never enough. So when that part of our brain shuts off, the analytic part of our mind, we're only running on our survival mode. So dopamine receptors get blown out. Check this out. This is incredible. Look at this here. They did brain scans of the dopamine receptors. COVID damages dopamine receptors too. When you get ill, you get damaged dopamine receptors. If you go through 4 months, or actually it's 90 days, that's why most people say 90 days, but even 8 weeks, if you start to chill your life, if you dopamine detox, if you start using some bioregulators and some tools, then you can accelerate this process tenfold. This is why peptides are so exciting. This is why GLPs, by the way, because they help. This is why there's other tools that today can help people achieve unlike ever before in human history to break the patterns of their past and chart a new way forward to the vision and dream they had when they were a kid or when they were a young person about what their life should be like. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Check it out. So within 4 months, dopamine receptors started to grow back. And guess what happens when your dopamine receptors grow back? The real you comes out. The person that feels certain and sure and loving and has time and isn't always behind on time and has love to give for you and time to give for you and money to give to you, because you know what? I'm certain I'm going to have mine. So I don't need to worry about me and I can focus on you. Wouldn't that be like the person that you want to be? Don't you think that person would be more successful at achieving the dream of their body or their business or their life? Absolutely. So I'm going to round this out. It's all about balancing dopamine to GABA, which is the relaxation, oxytocin, which is the love, like you hold your fur baby, drop some, or you hold a real baby, you drop all this oxytocin, and serotonin, which is more about, that's where kind of joy can come from, right? Positivity can come from, right? It's about balancing these. So we have to replace the actions that we had that we're trying to get rid of in our business and our life and create new healthy actions that then in 90 days create neuroassociations. simply this: when you start dating again, if you're someone who's single, try to date someone that's not your prototype. When you go on the date with them, you're not going to want anything to do with them because your heart's not pumping. It's like, oh, I'm not too interested in this. But it's not because of them. It's because it's not your normal pattern. It's not neuroassociation. You start a new diet. It's the same thing. You start a supplement and you're like, you expect results tomorrow. No. Well, you got to wait 60 to 90 days before you judge anything, because you've got to give your brain enough time to be exposed to that, like a taste of something, acquired taste. None of y'all like coffee. I don't care. Nobody came out the womb like loving Folgers, okay? You kept drinking it and you kept drinking it and you grew to what? Love it, right? People, diets, new lives are no different. So if you do something for a week and don't get the result and turn around and go, this wasn't for me, you're lying to yourself. It takes at least 60 to 90 days to develop that new neuroassociation so that you can get a pleasurable response from something that is different, right? And so how do I help you get through the 90 to 180 days? How can I do that? Modern science and peptides and biohacking today have amazing tools to do this. So go ahead and screenshot this. This is called a dopamine reset. In 72 hours, I can change your life. So you'll go through a remove, you'll cut out social media, stimulants, TV, bars, drugs, etc., right? You'll replace it with water loading, a little holy basil, get a morning routine, journal. You're going to eat high protein, high fiber. And then you're going to use a little bit of lion's mane, tyrosine. Take a picture of that. 72 hours. Do it over a weekend. Take a Friday off. You can do this. Dedicate it to yourself. Through the weekend, where more of your time is you're the number one priority. Moms, you can do this. Stop lying to yourself. There's always room. There's always room, right? So you can do this, and then you can add a bioregulator to this. This is where the world has changed. GLPs regulate dopamine. We now have low-dose naltrexone, which balances anxiety. We have C-Max that stimulates dopamine, so you get just enough dopamine stimulation that you can hold the 90 days till the dream starts to happen, so that you can wait in the business and keep doing it just long enough. It's all about mastering dopamine, and it's never been easier before when you can use bioregulator, peptide tools, things like dopamine resets, and these things can absolutely change your life. It's what I use every single day. I've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years, and it's just started to get recognized for it nationally in the last couple years. I've been doing it for 20 years, really. So you have to stay the path, but nobody can stay consistent, and it's about mastering dopamine. C-Max, you guys got to give it a try, right? 300 micrograms once or twice a day for motivation, cognitive resilience, improves neuroplasticity. And so whenever you're starting something new, putting some of that in is going to give you this just enough to stay consistent until you get the result. LDN is immunomodulator, protects dopamine, regulates anxiety, can reduce mast cell histamine responses, right? Improves endorphins. And then I know I'm moving a little bit, but also GLPs, guys. Microdosing GLPs will balance reward receptors in your brain and help you stay consistent. You ain't got to take 8 milligrams of retatrutide. You can do 1 milligram of your semaglutide or tirzepatide, and it's another way to stay consistent. It's why people don't eat all over the place when they're on GLPs, right? Methylene blue is another amazing one that's a good dopaminergic. I love that one. It's almost like it's a natural Adderall for a lot of people. Take 10 to 12 milligrams a day. Big picture, start learning to master dopamine now. Start doing the one thing that is going to change your life instead of a million things that don't do nothing but check boxes and keep you busy and preoccupied. And if you're wondering how to do the dopamine detox, if you're looking for a life-changing experience, there's a couple things I'd recommend. You can message me on Instagram, Vince_Pitstick, for the dopamine detox. I will give you my 3-day guide. Then, after you get the 3-day guide, here's the next step that I would take. My medical team. So I have built a whole medical team that helps entrepreneurs, people that are ill, or people that are trying to get in the best shape of their life, pair up based on their blood work to have the exact right dopamine peptides, body peptides, and system that they need for their body and health, right? I have some of the best practitioners in the country. Right now, we're offering you guys only the opportunity that advanced 60-point blood work. You get that done. Also, you'll get an advanced consultation. They'll put an exact protocol to you to help you get kick-started on your journey for only $299. That's all the blood work and the consult, everything included, just for you guys. There's a link that's going to be in the chat. And if you guys want to learn how to master peptides and then build your own peptide business, we show you how to do that. There'll be in the chat. You can get my free 3-hour masterclass on the strategies for the body and the mind and more. If you like what you heard today and you want 3 hours more free, we're giving you a mini certification. We're dropping the link for that with my university, MMU, in the chat. And I only went 8 minutes over, so I hope this was a life-changing message for you guys. Keep going, and we'll see you here shortly, actually. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.